Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you need to know which button was pressed in your React Native app? It can be a bit tricky, right? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're going to tackle how to differentiate between buttons in an onPress function. I totally get it. Having multiple buttons that call the same function can lead to confusion, especially when you need to know which one was clicked. You're definitely not alone in this struggle. It's a common issue among developers. Here's the specific situation we're looking at. One user recently asked, "How can I get the name of the button that was pressed in my React Native app?" They have two buttons, both calling the same onPress function, and they want to know which button triggered the event. Sound familiar? Let's dive into this together. So what can we do to solve this? The key is to pass an identifier to the onPress function. This way, you can easily determine which button was pressed. Let's break it down step by step. And stick around. I've got a handy tip at the end that will make your button handling even smoother. To differentiate between the buttons in the onPress function, the user can pass an additional parameter to the callback. This parameter will identify which button was pressed. Next, the user should update the toggle function to accept this new parameter. This will allow the function to know which button was pressed. Inside the toggle function, the user can now use a conditional statement to execute different logic based on the button title. This will help in handling the button presses appropriately. Finally, the user can test the implementation by pressing each button and observing the behavior defined in the toggle function. This will confirm that the buttons are working as intended. Fun fact, did you know that the first button ever created was part of a simple calculator? Now we have buttons for everything, even in our apps. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach shared by another user focuses on improving performance by binding the event handler in the constructor. This ensures that the handler is rendered only once, which can help avoid performance issues. In this approach, the button pressed method calls the onPress function with the button's title, allowing you to differentiate which button was pressed in the main toggle function. Here's that handy tip I promised. Always use descriptive names for your button identifiers. This will make your code easier to read and maintain in the long run. And there you have it. You can now easily differentiate between buttons in your React Native app. Remember, clear code leads to fewer headaches. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button for more tips, and don't miss our next video on optimizing your React Native components.